Check the mic and make sure
What's up, everyone? And welcome to the group chat brought to you by Overma. I'm Darrell and I'm here with Xin Wei today. We have a very interesting topic. I got this inspo off Reddit. Randomly I was reading it. So I was like, why not, right? So today's topic, we're going to be talking about hold hands or hold hands, right? Oh, touchy topic. Okay, so as a romantic encounter, something we should be looking forward to in our schooling years. So let's discuss that. All right. Today's topic is a bit more lighthearted. So, I just wanted to share our thoughts. I don't know. It's not really like a very like how to study hard kind of thing. But I think it's very relevant because in today's world, we meet new people, we feel new things. Some of these feelings cannot be suppressed. And I don't think it should. But we just want to talk more about giving more perspective and really addressing at the crux of this issue, maybe giving you a bit more light, from our past experience, I don't know, all sorts. Sing, for you, right, when we pick up this topic on hold hands or hold hands, what was your first initial reaction?
Are you gonna post that Reddit inspiration to the thing? So okay, but let's just talk about like as Darrell said, right? He picked up this article, like a post on Reddit, and the topic to hold pen or hold hands was like the topic of that post as well. And at first, when I was reading that article, I was like, this is really funny. But I realized that, yeah, it is. I guess it's a very real thing because your school will probably tell you to like prioritize academic, like do not date, do not like get into a relationship. Most parents probably will stand on that as well, like tell the children like no dating before, like I don't know, enter university, like take all your exam first, that kind of thing. But I think here, but it's not so straightforward, like what Darrell said. It's not so straightforward. There is pro and cons, and it's also not as straightforward as just listing pro and cons. I feel this is not supposed to be a like black and white thing. Yeah, so we are here to talk about this.
I think we can discuss the context a little. So when we say hold hands or hold hands, I think the whole idea is like, do I focus on my academics, or do I have the luxury, or even like, do I need permission to date and stuff like that? Now, for me, right, the way I look at the issue, maybe we can start with listing the pros and cons first. But like Xin Wei say, right, it really goes down to the context of your situation and how you are like. So we don't want to come off as like, I am like boomer, you cannot date before, or like, well, I'm super I'm super like, wow, like free, yeah, go date.
Go and find a girlfriend or boyfriend.
It's not like that, it's really subjected to your own situation, and we just hope to give you a bit more perspective. Now, we start with the more interesting one. What are the pros of dating? Then we maybe can bounce off a few ideas because we didn't come into this plan. I'm just speaking based off what I see and what I know. Now, it really depends on the couple, okay, or the friendship. I don't know what term you guys use now, but the partnership. But I think it depends on whether the relationship is a positive one or a toxic one. Let's talk about one that actually works. Now, if you're in a really strong relationship whereby you're helping each other grow, you're there to encourage one another, not to hold one another back, but to really help each other grow into a better version, to keep each other accountable for your life in terms of like your responsibilities as a student and stuff. I can see the relationship being a big pro because it's just another person sharing your burden and another person helping you grow into a better person. Now, do I see that to be very common during the schooling years when you're a teenager or a young adult? I have to say honestly, not so much. Okay, I need to give context as well because that's not true for all the case. I have seen real couples that have been together since secondary school or been together since JC and they got married, right? So that is a separate conversation. Not a lot of them, but there are, okay? So I don't want to dismiss that, this is something that, it won't work out, it won't work out. No, that's not true, right? It can work out, but it's very subjective. Now, some reasons and some context you might want to consider is, firstly, do you have the time for it, right? Now, let's say both of you are super busy with CCA, you have your own club stuff, studies-wise and everything. You need to understand for a relationship to work, it needs quality time most of the time. And time is sometimes not a luxury for most people. So I think for, I'm trying to talk about the pros of dating, but I find myself digressing so much. Okay, so I stick to a point. If both of them are in a constructive relationship that's helping each other grow, that could be a big pro. Another big pro is that you can be there for one another in your downtimes, right? If you're not feeling good, you're unmotivated and stuff, there's somebody else to help pull you up. I think that is another big pro that is very difficult to get that support otherwise from somebody that truly understands you. Xin Wei, any other pros that come to your mind?
I think is that kind of like what Darrell said, right? I think a very healthy relationship, like if you were to meet someone that like, oh, everything clicks, like your values, your belief, your interests, everything clicks, and you like the personality, you like the looks, everything click, right? I think it's just nice because a lot of people, I don't think they will regret going into a relationship. Okay, unless they majorly fucked up their life because of this relationship. Maybe that's a separate conversation. But I think people don't really regret doing it. So the context of this post on Reddit was that this person regret not dating during school times. So that could be a pro as well because it's an experience. Like even if eventually it didn't happen, like nothing solid or like final come out of it, but it's just like if the memory was good, it could very much be a pro. Yeah, maybe it's not a very solid pro because as I said, this doesn't need to be like really pro and cons. Maybe it's not like a very solid reason to I should go and date, but I think it's more like if you see a person that is right, then it is not a bad thing as well. Yeah, but the context is that at least at that point, you must think that this person is right. Like you shouldn't date for the sake of dating.
Yeah, I mean, there's this thing that I have with Singaporeans is that we are way too practical, It's just the way our society is structured, which is like, there needs to be a pro and con, man, but it's like what you say, it's just a good memory to have, It's like, at that moment, I decided to make this decision, and this is a decision that brought me happy moments, and that's more than enough. There doesn't have to be an outcome out of it. Doesn't have to be a pros and cons out of it. So it's like, if you're wondering whether to do it or not, sometimes if you say yes, it doesn't have to be quantitated in terms of pros and cons. But the context of this discussion is a bit more tricky because you're in what we'll call your more formative years, the more important years as you put it lah. But if you stretch out your horizon, right, honestly, you think long term, right, this is just another hurdle in your life. Like, you don't have to kill yourself over it. But that being said, right, the cons of dating could be quite scary. And we just wanted to maybe talk about that first so that we can, after that, put everything together and come up with where our middle ground is. I think the cons is that firstly could be a distraction. Now, especially if both you and your partner are people without good self-discipline, that might be an issue, meaning you just want to spend time together, which is natural, but you don't really have the self-discipline to, make sure that you're able to carry out your other responsibilities. That is one way I could see it being a big con. Another big con is that it can really take a strain if your relationship doesn't turn out well, meaning you quarrel a lot, there's a lot of toxic stuff in the relationship, it pulls down your mood, it distracts you, it demotivates you from everything else. I think that could be a big con as well. Of course, that's not to say that the relationship will not work out, but a relationship takes a lot of effort from both sides, communication and stuff. And I think these are all things that you slowly pick up and get better at as you grow older and have more experience. So it is not uncommon to see during your young adult years that you have issues with that, because you're still trying to figure out who you are as a person and your communication style and stuff. So you might not be in a position to be listening or as empathetic. I don't know, but like I said, it might be worthwhile and stuff. But like those are, I think, major cons that come to my mind lah. So anything else that comes to your mind in terms of why dating might be a bad idea?
I
Why you
think
should hold your
nowadays,
pen?
I
Yeah.
think nowadays, a lot of people want to get into a relationship because other people are getting into a relationship. I think that's a major con because some people may not be ready for a relationship, but they see like everyone is getting into a relationship, and then they are like, oh my god, I want to get into a relationship as well. And then I feel like usually that wouldn't be a very good sign for a healthy relationship like afterwards. And then like what Darrell, everything that Darrell described, quarrel, distraction, like you want to stay in a relationship, but like this person is like not exactly right for you, but you're like trying your best, and then end up like both sides get hurt, both sides like just get impacted a lot. And in the very context of like taking O level, A level, I think it's very scary because those things can really impact like someone's mood. Like imagine like you spend 1 hour quarreling and 1 hour crying. I'm sure like you want to study after that. Like I think even someone who can like context switch immediately, right, wouldn't be able to context switch in that kind of scenario. And it probably takes quite long to recover from that. So if it's not the right person, I think it is a very big con. Like
I
there
just
can be
want to
so
jump
many
in
things.
here. I got a real story to share. Okay, so this happened to one of my close friends in JC. In JC1, he got together with this girl. They were perfect for one another. They really could see that they were like hitting off really well. But in JC2 midway, for I don't know what reason, I think it was just for like very lame reason, they broke up. And he just really went into a spiral. He eventually dropped out of JC and didn't even take A level. So that was to the extent how bad it was. So I'm just saying this, just to share. I mean, of course, I hope that doesn't happen to anybody else. But this is real, and this is something that we have to deal with if it happens to us. So I just wanted to put it out there first, because it is not easy being in a relationship. The emotions come along and stuff. It's not something that you can say, oh, break means break. It's not never that easy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to be prepared for this should you decide to hit into a relationship itself. Now, I think here's where we come to a middle ground. We talked about some like good things and some bad things, and we're trying to find like where is this middle ground at. So anyway, for yourself, right, where is your middle ground? Like what island are you standing on?
I think I am open to like meeting new people, meeting new friends, and then like spending time with people. Like, but it was never with the intention like I am like looking for someone to spend like someone to be my boyfriend. And actually the pro of dating that Darrell mentioned just now, right? I think you can get it from a non-partner as well. Okay, maybe it's not as like it would take even more effort to get that. Like someone to what was you saying? Like a partner that like if you are down, they can like hold you up and like show you care and concern, spend a lot of time together. Actually, when you say all these things, right, a lot of people can also play in that, like friends, like good friends, we can play that part also. Maybe it's not 100% identical, but I think a large percentage actually do overlap. um Even for like family members, let's say siblings, parents, I think they also can show that kind of care and concern. As I said again, not identical, but it does like overlap. So that kind of relationship also give you those things, right? So I think if I think the middle ground is that I always tell like people younger than me or students or even my peers that I feel like you should go out and have a lot of fun. But you never need to like always think about like, oh, okay, but when I go out to have fun, I want to hold someone's hand. But it should be like focusing on yourself and then like focusing on your experience. If you really see someone that you really like and think through all the pro and cons that we just talked about, like I think the keywords are like what, like discipline, distraction, like is it like do you have the capacity, all these things, are you mature enough, Do you know exactly what you want? This kind of questions, I believe that there is a middle ground. If you think through properly, like I think you can do it. I've seen like, okay, I think Darrell's story is quite extreme. Like just now your friend's story, I think that one was like damn extreme. But I've really seen a few examples of like, they really like secondary school, JC, NS, uni, get married. Yeah. So like, okay, it's quite rare lah, to be honest, but not every, even if it didn't work well, right? But at least it was good then, and then just move on with life. Oh. Yeah. So it's not that bad.
There's exactly 3 that I can remember that went through secondary or JC and end up getting married. That's not a very big number.
Yeah, I have a few also, but it's
a
like,
few
I think it's super rare.
Yeah.
I think it's super rare. I think I have more examples of people breaking up at the changing point of their life, like graduate from JC, go NS, graduate from uni. I have more friends breaking up at those kind of like changing, like turning point of their life than anything else. But there's also some that stay true.
Yeah. Anyway, even if you eventually touch wood break up, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's a memory, right? Yeah. Okay, this is my middle ground. This is my middle ground. If you're in your national exam year, don't do it. Okay, if you are right now listening in June, right, and you're Sec 4 and you're J2, right, just hold it in your pants or whatever for 6 more months and then you do it. I think that is the best middle ground.
What if they get together before?
If you're together before, I think my advice would be to not make it a very heavy commitment kind of thing. So I would say don't make too much promises. Explore a little more and communicate actively. I think that would really help. But don't set any expectations and don't plunge head deep into the relationship itself. Give yourself a bit of time to ease into it. My advice is not to do it or not to do it. I think one question you have to ask yourself is, are you ready for it, right? Should you be working on yourself rather than to be looking for a partner at this point in time? There is no right or wrong answer for sure, right? And it's very contextual. We're not encouraging you to, hey, go out there and like date all you want. No. But I think like what Xin Wei put it, is very good to go out there to meet new people, all right, and get new experiences. That is something we strongly encourage. But relationship is just one aspect of it. You can get and you can derive a lot of joy meeting new people and, you know, having supportive friends and stuff. It need not come in the form of a relationship. But if you feel like you're ready and if you feel that your partner is ready for it, then you can strongly consider it. But you should really talk through a lot of these factors beforehand. What if one day, you know, you're sad by my exam, right? Or like a test day before, we want to go out, you know, like scenarios like that needs to be communicated well. And I think that's really the path to building a strong and healthy relationship. Of course, like what we said earlier, we cannot give you a right answer here. There is no to do this or to do that. But I just want to speak from my personal experience, okay? So you guys see if you can relate to it. If you can't, too bad, man. Okay? So for me in my secondary school, I was in a boys' school. So not saying that I don't have the opportunity to interact with the other gender, you know, we could meet outside of school and stuff like that. But I really focus on working on myself. And I really focus on working with my bros and my friendship instead. So that was like my support circle. And I have no regrets at all not dating during my secondary school days. Okay. I think it was really important for me to work on myself and having those friends. I think that was perfect for me. I went to JC, there are girls around. Of course, you will like feel attraction to some of them, right? Because that's natural. Okay. Or even you know, you feel attraction, then you feel like you want to like, you know, go for it. For me, I did, you know, I did initiate and like I did go and talk to people and stuff. Kind of work out for some, then, you know, like it tapered off and stuff like that. But there was like this one person that I was really into, all right. But I think she had the discipline to say, let's hold it off until A levels. So for myself, during the period whereby we haven't gotten together, it was still kind of nice, you know. In fact, that was the nicest part of the whole relationship. I am still like in the progress of like pursuing and we're like together, but you know, not together, but like that feeling itself was great because we were there supporting one another. We were talking and like that was a good feeling. That was a memory that I won't replace anyway. But after A level, then when we really had a time and we really had a capacity to start dating, then we started dating. So to me, that was my own journey. And I thought that wasn't too bad, you know. But of course, like we said, I seen my friends dating. There were high ups and downs. You just need to be ready for it when it comes. And you cannot expect going into a relationship, it will be perfect, smooth sailing. Impossible, right? Even with my current girlfriend that, I'm going to marry, when we got together, we also quarrel like crazy, because that's natural. You're learning how another entirely different human being functions and communicates. There's bound to be areas of friction and, things that you will quarrel about. You cannot expect a completely smooth sailing relationship. You ask any couple whether they quarrel before, confirm God. Okay, so if there's advice you need from somebody older who has been through it, or like that is what I'll say lah. That if you're in your national exam year, hold it off. But if the stars align and God is telling you to do something about it, then you go for it, man. Nobody's gonna hold you back. But just be aware and just communicate actively. I think that is what I'll advise you. But in general, I have to go a little bit more boomer here. I generally think that it is going to be more of a distraction, even though I understand that there are some that could be a win-win, like a positive kind of thing. So if you want to hit a final advice, I would say probably not till you are done with school. But I know that sounds a bit boomer, but that's my honest thought lah. Xin Wei, for you, if you only had a chance to give like one advice, yes or no, which side of the binary are you on?
I guess like to add on to like Darrell's point, like if really you don't do it during the school time, right? If you like zoom out, right, you are not really losing out a lot. Like, let's say you are taking O-level and you want to like, or even if let's say you are like Sec 3 and you want to wait until like after Sec 4, actually it's not a very long time, because you know that like if you really get together with this person and you want to spend the rest of your life with this person, you have to rest like freaking 60 plus years, and that is a long time. And I think if you zoom out, right, in the grand scheme of things, if you really have to hold it off, that's not a lot of time.
We want to add, right? When I say don't get together, right, it doesn't mean you just like abandon the relationship.
Yeah,
I mean, you hold
of
it off,
course.
right? Meaning you can still be friends with no commitments, with no like promises and anything. You just keep it casual, like first, then after that, then you'll decide what you want to do with your relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not missing out a lot, because you have like, if you really is this person, like, but you really believe that this person is gonna be like you're gonna spend the rest of your life with this person, that's like 60 plus more years, and you're gonna get sick of this person. So like, I think you can start a bit later. I think that's fine. So I agree that I think basically, I think both Darrell and I is like believer that of course if it's the right person, you should like, we hope that you find your right person, but we're just saying that there's priorities, and maybe something else are higher up on the priorities list.
And I'm just throwing this in, right? Because I think it is a very practical advice. But it might come off sounding a little bit I don't know how to put it.
I want to hear about it.
What?
Like say it. I'm like, I want to hear about it.
It's never a bad thing to keep your options open.
No, I think that's totally fair. Like, you realize that, okay, you think that this person is the best person you meet in secondary school, then you go to JC. 8 times, like 4 or 5 times of your population in school. And then you go to uni.
JC, you go to uni.
You see a lot more people. But I think it's just a very fair advice. Like, that is how life works.
It's like more of like you don't really know what you want until you get it, kind of thing. So it's like you might feel like this person is like the perfect being at the moment, but if you meet more people and stuff, you realize that, hey, actually I like something different and stuff. But then again, I mean, all of this is really very subjective. I think at the end of the day, what we're hoping to provide you value with is, just getting you to think more deeply about this issue. Of course, we are not relationship counselor or advisors. We're just speaking of like our best advice. But in terms of the context of whether to hold pen or hold hand, I think the decision is in your hands.
Wow. Drop my drop.
Okay, and I think with that, we come to the end of today's podcast. We hope that this discussion at least would help you gain a better insight onto the world of relationship and how it works. Of course, if you're desperate for relationship advice, hit Xin Wei up.
No, I think I'm the last person you should hit up, so you can ask Darrell instead.
Okay, hit me up, man. I'll tell you to just I don't know, man. Okay, but I'll look forward to hearing from you guys. If you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, leave us a like on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next podcast, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.
It sound right, boy.